left, but I'd like to talk about remote working. I think this is a really important one. Almost every company in the last 6 months plus has been working from home.
Mhm.
So, what's Technium doing? What are you seeing in the market? What's the future looking like for, this work from home, cloud usage, future
Sure.
we're looking at? Yeah.
Um, there's a host of areas to talk about. So first, let's start at the edge. So how are users that were typically going to an office functioning? And where we're working significantly with customers is now that this is very long term. The pandemic is a long term event, and the remote workforce is now going to be the workforce. We need to look at architectures for our customers for how they're positioned. And this isn't just capacity for VPN. This is where are your applications going to be to best serve your customers. So what we will do is work with them on if you're currently using on-premise applications and your strategy is to get to the cloud quickly, or you went to the cloud quickly, we need to then look at your security as it relates to how your remote workers are going to access cloud resources. If you're, let's say, a lab sciences company or the physical building is going to continue to be a big part of your business, then how do you facilitate permanent remote work? And there's a number of different technologies available that we're bringing, but our focus is helping to re-architect the business, the transport, like how people connect, and then it's done with security in mind.
So Technium will be able to help a customer fortify their network, which is now expanding into the cloud and into the private homes, in order to keep the security posture.
Exactly. We're in fact often faced with a situation where we've been told this by a customer. If we were managing three locations and 300 people, we now feel like we're managing 300 locations plus the three that we had before because we
Right.
have all of our homes. And there are really nice emerging technologies for that. There's one called SASE. It's actually been around for a few years. It stands for Secure Access Service Edge. All that it really is extending the security technology that is resident in a firewall to the cloud and then to the endpoint. So what we recommend for those devices that are in homes that are company owned that are being used on a day-to-day basis to work, that a SASE configuration is completed, thereby creating a firewall that is directly available to an end user computer device wherever they are. That's a good technique. And then one other technique that is just the total polar opposite to this is if you say, I don't want to provide devices to people, you can also do virtual workspaces. You can use Amazon virtual workspaces, Microsoft virtual workspaces. These are exploding
Mhm.
because IT people love them because now they're only maintaining, well, is your internet working? Great, it's working. If your internet's working, that's all I care about. And I now can maintain your environment in the cloud in one place. So these are the two sort of
Right.
forks in the road you could take.
So it sounds like if the IT is establishing that internet connection's working, and now the person is in these cloud workspaces, are all their security needs met
No,
in
definitely
that cloud
not.
workspace?
No, definitely
And kind of why
not. So
not?
that so
Yeah.
uh, well, principally because what you've done is just move the problem. So imagine, if you will, a collection of PCs in an office, and you had a firewall, right? So you had an office with PCs and you had a firewall. Well, unless you design the same construction for your workspaces in the cloud, you've just basically created a security risk because these are publicly available workstations now. They're
I see.
actually more vulnerable. So, what we've been working with customers on is if you're going to move to that model, if we use Amazon vernacular for a minute, you stick all those workspaces in a VPC, a virtual private cloud. That's your virtual private cloud with your workspaces in it. If you position a virtual firewall or virtual security technology at the perimeter of that VPC, you treat it like an office, then you're protected in the same way that you would if you were in the office. And that's the gap. We're seeing too many companies rushing to get their virtual workspaces implemented, but not taking the time to apply security principles.
The reality is
And that's
Amazon's
false.
not taking responsibility for everyone's individual security. That's still on you to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon does macro level security. They provide security. You don't have to worry about anyone hacking the infrastructure systems that you spin up a new workspace on. That's their responsibility. But
Mhm.
everything above that line, it's on you. So you still need to put endpoint technology on, you still need firewalls, you still need security. Right.
Interesting.
And so I think this is one of the things that I've always stressed my entire career in IT is that you're still accountable.
Mhm.
If you're the IT manager and you choose to implement new technology, if you assume that that technology takes care of X, Y, or Z, it's at your risk. So when you do backups to Amazon, when you use Amazon as your workspace environment, when you use it as your server environment, you're still accountable for your security, disaster recovery, data protection, data leakage. If you buy services from companies like us, you're still accountable to the solution being effective. Amazon provides capabilities. It doesn't implement them for you, it doesn't check on them for you, and it doesn't, have accountability for you.
It sounds like one of the most important things you can do is have a service provider that actually forms a relationship with you that can guide you in some of these things, and
I mean, again, I think so. This is my, kind of my most important analogy, I would say, is that for most businesses, it is if you look at, let's say, a job and you said,
mm,
I want to have a very talented and capable security person on my staff who can represent me. By the way, we work with lots of companies that have those individuals on staff. But what I would say is that for most companies, I can hire those people into Technium and give them a wonderful career, job, area of interest. They can grow and work on many networks. They can have peers. They can have mentors. They can grow in a career that they want to have. It's very hard for companies to provide all of those things because they often have one position.
right.
So they can hire a Greg. Greg can come on board and learn everything there is to know about their network and their security. Then their career stops. They don't have peers, they don't have mentors, they don't have a career progression.
Mm,
If you go to a much larger company, you can hire a few of these people, which is great, but I would still argue you're better off maintaining relationships with companies like a Technium where you have access to overflow, where you have access to people that work on different styles of networks and different things that are happening. So it's almost like, if you think about it like a lawyer, it's almost like a retainer relationship for security expertise.
So instead of having to have a few lawyers on staff, right, that are on the payroll, you have a team of lawyers on retainers, and you can get probably a higher level of lawyers, right? And then you bring them in when you have an issue, or you have
Right.
them look over
Or
something. Yep.
even if you think about that same analogy,
Mhm.
if you have a company that has an on-staff attorney, they call that in-house counsel, right?
Mhm.
There's always a relationship with an external legal firm. There's
Good point.
big reasons for that. Number one, that external legal firm is a control mechanism, which engenders competence and ethics. In addition, that internal resource then has these peers and mentors, etc. No one likes to be on an island. It's always better to have, relationships, skill differentials, um, second set of eyes, however you want to describe it. But that's a really valuable tool.
Right.
And again, we serve that role with a lot of our customers, and it's why we always say we very very rarely come in and replace a human being. Oftentimes, we augment the staff in ways that they can't currently get to the work.
But I think the takeaway here is that a lot of companies they need they need supplementation to what their current security posture is or their current security plan is, if they even have that in place. And Technium seems like a very good option for a company who's looking for someone to come in, build a relationship, right, and then help them navigate these waters, these cybersecurity waters. So I think that's it's important.